All right, today we're going to jump into something really cool. It's a piece of a screenplay called The King of Little Italy. And let me tell you, it's this amazing snapshot of a world that's all about loyalty, but also ruled by fear. You get this sense that every single street corner has its own story. So let's just dive right in.
So right off the bat, these first lines hit you with this heavy feeling of decay, you know? We're thrown into a New York that feels like it's looking over its shoulder, mourning what it used to be while gearing up for a really violent future. This isn't just a setting, no way. It's a battlefield where nostalgia is clashing with raw ambition, and everything is kind of defined by what's already gone. So, first up, let's really soak in the atmosphere. We're gonna walk these shadowed streets and meet our guide, the man who knows every single secret they hold. The script just immediately sets up this powerful contrast. You've got a charming bakery, a place that's supposed to be about community and warmth, and it's the front for the Russo crime family's business. It's the perfect metaphor for this world, really. Appearances are not just deceiving, they're downright dangerous. And this is our guide, Vinny Russo. Now, he's not the boss, but he's the enforcer. He's the one who has to navigate the brutal logic of this place with a sharp mind and this really commanding presence. So everything we see, we're seeing it through his eyes. And this line, wow. This just perfectly sums up Vinny's whole worldview. In his world, there's absolutely no middle ground. You're either the one causing the trouble, or you're the one it's coming for. It's this incredibly stark, simple code, and it's literally how you survive on these streets. So, keeping that brutal code in mind, let's take a look at the currency of power in this world. How do you win it? How is it challenged? And ultimately, what's it going to cost you? Okay, so the main conflict is a classic turf war. You've got a younger, hungrier crew from Brooklyn, and they're making a play for Russo territory. And they're not just messing around. They're going after their casino deals. This is so much more than a business dispute. It's a direct challenge to the Russo family's authority. And at the top of the food chain is this man, Frankie the Boss Russo. He's the old guard patriarch, the guy who built this entire empire from the ground up. And he embodies that traditional order that's now under attack. Frankie's reaction? It's swift and it is brutal. There's no talk of negotiation. His response is just a raw display of power. When he says make an example, he's sending a message to everyone. This city belongs to the Russos, and they will use force to prove it. Period. Okay, so what happens next is basically this super tense 3-act play. It just unfolds right there in the bakery. You've got step 1, the intrusion, right? The rival crew makes their move. Then step 2, the warning. Frankie just lays it all out. And finally, step 3, this fragile truce. They leave, but you can feel it in the air. This is just a temporary peace, and there is definitely more conflict on the horizon. This ultimatum right here is the heart of the whole confrontation. It's a threat, but it's thinly veiled, delivered with the absolute authority of a man who knows he controls the entire board. Frankie is just laying out the stark reality of the situation. You either play by my rules or you get wiped off the map. Simple as that. But Frankie's power isn't just about threats and violence. It's actually built on something more complex, this unwritten code. Let's dig into the real foundation of power on these streets, the code of respect. And here, in a moment of quiet reflection, Vinny tells us what the true currency of this world is. Violence, money, those are just tools. The real power, the thing that holds everything together, is respect. If you lose that, your empire is nothing but a house of cards, just waiting for a breeze to knock it down. But here's the thing. While the family is trying to project this image of unbreakable unity, there's a much more dangerous threat brewing, and it's not from their rivals. It's coming from inside their own ranks. So meet the catalyst for all this internal conflict. Vic Russo, Vinny's younger brother. And he is everything the old guard isn't, right? He's slick, he's modern, and he is dangerously impatient. For Vic, the old ways, they're not a legacy, they're a liability. And with this one, quiet comment, Vic just exposes this deep fracture running through the Russo family. He's giving a voice to this really dangerous idea that's been simmering right below the surface. Frankie's time is up, and a new generation is ready and waiting to take the throne. The whole conflict really boils down to two completely opposing philosophies. For Frankie's old guard, power's all about tradition and absolute, unquestioning loyalty. But for Vic's new blood, Power's an opportunity, and loyalty, well, that's conditional. The old ways are like a sacred text to one side and just an outdated manual to the other. And this is where Vinny makes his allegiance crystal clear. He might be the bridge between these two worlds, but his foundation is built on blood and loyalty. He shuts his brother down with a really harsh reminder of the debt they owe the man who built their empire. He's positioning himself as the guardian of a tradition that's starting to fade. So we're left with a family basically at war with itself and a whole city just holding its breath. So what are the fundamental laws that actually govern this world? What are the unwritten rules that decide who gets to survive? You know, it all comes down to these three currencies that are way more valuable than cash. You've got loyalty, that unbreakable bond forged in blood. You've got honor, which is the foundation of your entire reputation. And then there's respect, the ultimate measure of a man's worth. In this world, these aren't just virtues. They are weapons for survival. This script leaves us with Vinny's final haunting words. This city, it'll swallow you whole. But if you're smart, if you play your cards right, you can rule it. It's both this grim warning and this tantalizing promise. The question isn't just who's going to survive, but who really has what it takes to wear the crown.